Hello Year 12 and welcome to the next episode of Mathematical Mo Brain Movies. I'll just get you to have a go at this maths contract before we start this particular episode. So I will love maths, yep, of course. I will be awesome at maths. Imagine yourself ticking. I will make up great maths jokes, obviously. You can be inspired by your teacher. I will always say maths is the best subject, of course. And then just down the bottom here, you will need to sign here. So I'm just going to pretend that, this is your signature. And your teacher will co-sign here. That's me. And so the focus of today's video is the cosine rule. Yeah, sorry, that one was pretty lame. But you know you love it. Okay, so just a reminder where we're at with these triangles. We've said that we can have two types of triangles that we deal with. We can have right angle triangles, and when we look at right angle triangles we either use Pythagoras or we use SOHCAHTOA, depending on what we're trying to find and what information we're given in the question. Then we said if it's not a right angle triangle, then it's an obtuse angle triangle. And last lesson you looked at using the sine rule, and you said, well, you're going to use the sine rule to find a side or an angle when you are dealing with two sides and two angles. So in this video we're looking at the cosine rule, which we use when we're interested or dealing with three sides and one angle. So your brain has to have this sense of, when do I use which rule? This one for three sides, 1, 2, 3, and one angle. So let's have a bit more of a look at it. We can use the cosine rule to calculate sides, or we can use it to calculate angles. In this video we're focusing on calculating a side using the cosine rule. And we use for calculating a side this form of the rule. This one here for calculating an angle, the one that's got cos c at the front, remembering that the c there would be the angle because it comes after cos. This one is what we use when we're calculating an angle. Both of these two formulas are given to you on your formula sheet, but of course you need to remember which one to use. So if we're calculating a side, as I said, if we're calculating a side, we're going to use this form of the rule. How do I know to use that form? Well, if you kind of have a look here, if I just cover that with my thumb, hopefully that looks quite familiar to you as a rule, and hopefully it looks like Pythagoras' theorem, which of course we use to calculate sides. So I use the form that looks like Pythagoras' theorem with a bit of stuff on the end when I'm trying to calculate a side length in this triangle. So we need to know what this C, A, B and capital C, I hope you can tell the difference, I tried to make it obvious, little c and big C, where they are in this particular triangle. Now look, in a non-right angle triangle there's no hypotenuse because there's no side opposite the right angle. So it doesn't actually matter what I label A, B and C if I'm not given any angles. But in these questions you're always going to be given one angle. Let's just say I'm given this angle here. That angle is always going to be referred to as capital C. So that's the one that's in our formula here. If I'm given this angle as capital C, then I have to label the side opposite that angle as the lowercase c. So these must be a pair. So you always have to label the side opposite the angle given as the lowercase c. A and B doesn't matter. You can do this as A and this one as B, or you can do it the other way around. So let's just have a look at another example. If I was told that this angle was 45 degrees, that's going to be my C. And the side opposite has to be my lowercase c. A and B, go nuts, do whatever you want. Let's just say I was given this one and I was told that this angle here was 25 degrees and I needed to work out where my C's would be. Well, this is my C because it's the angle given. The side opposite must be my lowercase c. A and B don't matter. Okay, so that's how we label this triangle. So let's have a look at a question, just to get us started. So these are the classic kind of questions where you're asked to calculate the length of an unknown side given two sides and an angle. So you can see straight away that there's 1, 2, 3 sides involved in this question, and there is one angle involved. And that angle you can see is opposite the side I'm trying to work out, which is good news for us. It needs to always be opposite the side you're trying to work out. So I label this triangle. Remember, my angle is always labelled as capital C, which means that over here, this would be my little c. A and B, remember we said? Doesn't matter which one is A and which one's B. I'm just going to go with this way. I'm trying to calculate a side, and so I know that I'm going to use the form of the rule that looks like this. Remembering that, this is given to you on your formula sheet. Now I just substitute things in. I know that my C is this one over here. It's the unknown. It's what I'm trying to find out. So I'm just going to label it as x squared. So it's the x and there was the squared. My A was 12, so I substituted in. My B was 8, so I substituted in. Minus 2. Now you've got to remember there's little multiplication symbols in here. So this is 2 times. My A was 12. My B was 8. And I'm timesing by cos of the angle, so cos of C. Now this, if I plug that straight into my calculator, this is going to calculate x squared. I'm not interested in x squared, I'm interested in just x on its own. What is the length x? So to get rid of that squared, I'd have to do the square root of all of this, remembering to put this stuff in brackets so that when you type it in on your calculator, it does what you want it to do. That's going to give me x because the square root will allow me to get rid of that squared there. It's the inverse operation. So I'll plug it in on my calculator. The square root of, open brackets, I'm just putting it all in, 12 squared plus 8 squared, minus 2 times 12 times 8 times cos 20, close the brackets, equals 5.25. So 5.25 is the length of this side. Okay, so that's how this formula works to calculate a side. Your turn to have a go. Here's your question that you're going to have a try at. Again, you can see 1, 2, 3 sides and 1 angle, so it's going to be the cosine rule. And you're trying to work out that unknown x, so give it a go. Alright, let's see how you went. Hopefully you are remembering now that you need to label your angle as C, and the side opposite your C will be the lowercase side C. A and B don't matter. This is calculating a side, so I'm going to write my rule out. C squared equals A squared plus B squared minus 2AB cos C. I'm just put those times in there to make it clear. Remember, this rule is given to you on the formula sheet. Then I substitute. My C squared is what I'm trying to work out. That's x squared. My A is 9. My B is 8. Minus 2 times A was 9. B was 8. Times cos of my angle was 30. Again, this will give me x squared. I'm after x. So I need to do the square root of all of this in order to get what x would be. Put it all in brackets. Whack it into your calculator. The square root of, open brackets, 9 squared plus 8 squared minus 2 times 9 times 8 times cos of 30, close brackets, equals 4.50. Okay, so hopefully you got that one right. Here's your second question to have a go at. It's a Pass HSC question. So it says, you're given this diagram, it says from point S, which is 1.8 metres above the ground, a pulley at P is used to lift a flat object F. So here's my flat object F. My pulley here is used to lift that object up. The lengths SP, so that's that length there, is 5.4 metres, and PF, that length there, is 2.1 metres. It says the angle PSC, so PSC is 108, so that's given to you. It says show that the length PC, so it's saying show that this length here is 6.197 metres. Alright, so give that a go yourself first before I take you through it. as a little tip, see if you can identify the triangle that you're going to be using. Alright, hopefully you went alright with that. The first thing, as I mentioned in that little tip, was to identify the triangle you're using. So this is the triangle, it's this one here, where I know this angle is 108. I know that this side length's 5.4, this side length's 1.8, and this is what I'm trying to work out. So that's what I'm trying to work out. 1, 2, 3 sides, and 1 angle means I need to use the cosine rule. 3 sides and 1 angle. You've got to have in your head that that means cosine rule. Okay, so we're working out a side, so we write out the rule in this form. And we substitute in what we know. So these are the pairs that are opposite. So this is going to be my C and this will be my C. A and B does not matter. So C squared, that's my unknown side, so I'm going to write x squared. A squared is 4.4 squared, B squared 1.8 squared, minus 2 times my A, times my B, times by cos of the angle is 108. This is going to give me x squared, I'm just after x, so I'm going to do the square root of all of that. And I'm just going to whack it into my calculator. Hopefully your working out all looks similar. Whack it into my calculator. Square root of, open brackets, 5.4 squared, 5.8 squared, minus 2 times 5.4 times 1.8 times cos 108, close brackets, equals 6.197. And of course, what did this question ask me to do? It asked me to prove that that length was 6.197. Well, I've just shown that. I've just proved that that's the case.